My daughter is in 8th grade and her bus transports students from both her middle school and the high school. They have assigned seats and she sits on the window side directly behind the bus driver. So, the bus driver loads up the high school kids to go home and then picks up the middle school kids. Before she left the pickup line, the driver asked the high school girl in the back to trade places with the girl next to my daughter because high school girl is moving over the weekend but along the same route. So driver wanted high school girl to show where to pick her up on Monday morning. Turns out high school girl's assigned seat was beside her high school boyfriend's seat and he flipped the fuck out at the idea of not sitting with her. So he's at the front screaming at the bus driver, threatening her and using some majorly foul language. My daughter's seatmate had already gone toward the back, so my daughter was physically second closest to this asshole as she was trapped alone in the first seat. Driver calls the vice principal. Asshole is still spreading fuck yous and refuses to exit the bus. The principal arrives, a man this time at least, and still get to go fuck yourself, more screaming and a refusal to exit the bus. Police are called and they have to evacuate the bus from rear hatch so they can probably apprehend this teenager who still won't get off the bus or calm down. I do not like to imagine exactly how they did or didn't secure the safety of my daughter and other kids and driver in the process. Ultimately, my daughter's bus was 45 minutes late and I got zero notification from the school. Luckily I wasn't panicked. I work near my house and can see her bus go by and assumed I'd just not noticed it, but if I had been home, I would have been quite upset when she didn't come home on time. Is this normal? My daughter was rattled and I'm only getting the story from her perspective since I have no adult to even ask until next Tuesday. Her bus was pulling up as I was walking home, so I have no reason to doubt her story. It's just strange how the elementary school would call me when she got bumped on the playground, but the middle school doesn't call me when she's been through a scary situation involving police. I try not to think about what could have happened if that extremely unhinged kid had been toting a gun in his backpack. I am pretty sure the school called his mom. It was my first day back at school, 9th grade to be precise. I didn't have a lot of friends, maybe 2 or 3 exactly, so I caught the school bus alone as their parents would give them lifts to school. School, home, video games, and then sleep was usually my full week. Just a pretty basic kid really. This is my only scary experience and I'm 19 years of age writing this. Back to the story. So I leave home one morning to catch the bus. I was usually the first one on, but this time there was a guy at the back who looked older than any high school kid. Maybe 25 to 30 years of age, which I found extremely strange. Now you probably think, like any other horror story, I let it pass my mind, but I didn't. I just found it too odd. I asked the driver who he was and he said, "Who?" I whispered, "That guy at the back." The full time that strange guy staring down at me from the top of the bus. The driver got out of his little element and looked to the back of the bus.
"How did you get on here? I never picked you up."
The guy ran down the bus, barging past both me and the driver, which I found super weird. However, I jumped in the first seat at the front of the bus and let it pass my mind. He was probably just a homeless guy, I said to myself. The day goes by and finally the bell sounds. This particular day, my 2 friends, Dale and Max, didn't have a ride home, so they decided to hop onto the bus with me. Whilst on the bus, I asked Max and Dale if they wanted to come back to mine and play video games. They agreed. My stop was approaching and we were the last 3 people on the bus. As we got off the bus, there was a guy standing in all black with his hood up and staring toward the ground. We passed him and started heading towards my house, which was 5 minutes down the road. As we passed the guy, he said my name.
"Dylan."
"Who, me?" I responded.
"Why did you snitch?"
He replied. He turned around and pulled his hood down. It was the guy on the bus as I was heading to school that morning. I was a mixture of confused and pretty scared. My friends were both confused, and I could see them looking at this guy as if to say, "Who the fuck are you?" I looked at the guy and said, "Wait, how do you know my name, and what do you want?" He called me a rat and told me snitches get stitches. I didn't know how to respond, so I took a deep breath and said, "Look dude, I'm going to be honest. You looked sketchy, so I told the bus driver, alright? Now I have to go. Bye." I walked off with Max and Dale. He then told me there would be a punishment and walked off. 2 days later, and I'd almost forgot about the situation completely when I was walking to the local mall to hang out with Dale. I could feel somebody behind me, but I continued to walk and not glance back. I felt a hand on my shoulder and instantly turned around. It was that guy, yet he had blood in the corners of his mouth and looked both mentally insane and high as a kite. He tried to grab me, but I ran as fast as I could. Once the coast was clear, I rang Dale and told him what happened. I said I'd meet him at the mall a different day and went home. To this day, I even feel paranoid to walk the streets alone. Who knows what this guy could have done to me if he caught me? By the look on his face, I doubt it would have been pretty. My name is Becky, and I seem to attract a lot of weird guys. I'm only 14 years old, yet you wouldn't believe the disturbing looks some older guys give me. One night, me and a few friends went to hang out at the bus den, as we like to call it. It was a big yellow school bus, pretty much cemented into the ground in the middle of a field. Nobody knows how it got there, but we'd often hang there and smoke cigs and talk about random stuff. One Saturday evening around 6 PM, we were hanging at the bus den, and an older guy in uniform and a tipped hat was walking across the field toward the bus. We figured it was some sort of security telling us to leave, but when the guy got there, he smiled at us. Not a nice kind of smile, but an evil kind of smile. As I mentioned at the start, I always attract weirdos, and as he finishes smiling, he looks directly at me and straight up said, "I'm a bus driver, here to pick you guys up, right?" I thought he was just playing, so I said, "Yep, I guess we're your passengers." He locked his eyes into mine and said, "You can be my passenger," and winked at me. I was pretty disturbed, so I looked at my friends and said, "Come on, let's go." As we were walking away, he said, "Nice ass." I turned around and replied, "I'm 14 and you're like what, 50 years of age? Get out of here, you weirdo." His smile turned into a frown. He took off his hat and said, "Actually, I'm 57 years of age, and 14 is fine for me. I've even had girls under 10 years old as my passengers." We all looked at each other and sprinted. We contacted police, but nothing came of it. Still the most creepiest encounter I've ever experienced. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and also share with a friend. I post updates every single day on Twitter, and you can also follow me on Instagram, VidMe, etc. I will be leaving all links down in the description. I hope you all have a great day. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.